Oh, baby. Oh, fucking baby. We are back. We are back. We are back. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a lovely Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What? Hump day. It's fucking hump day, according to my calendar over here, which is never wrong. So with that said, I want to wish you a happy and healthy start to your nice little hump day. It doesn't matter what day it is anyways. Time is an arbitrary construct. You know, the time is always now. We're always living in the present, Mon. We're just floating around in this flying rock on space, Mon. It feels good to be here. And this is very, 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 very pleasurable Wednesday, actually, as we do have a nice setup going on actually across all crypto lands. Elsa is a bit feeling down right now, but she's going to be okay. She's a strong Finnish woman, and she don't take no shit, and she don't need no man, so she'll just be sitting back there for right now. I think she's dealing with a bit of food poisoning, perhaps. Ate some bad blueberries. Anyways, with that said, I want to say a massive welcome to everyone here. Holy shit, man. I see a lot of good faces, a lot of familiar faces. I see Crypto Yellow Vest, my French ami, I believe it is. There it is. What's up, man? I see you, brother. Who else else do we have? I see a great comment. Killing It for Years says, Bulls on Cocaine. Yes, indeed. That would be the remix right there. And I see Josh is back. The man, the myth, the Mr. Josh is back in the house. So welcome back, sir. And Justin Young as well. What's up, brother? Crookface. And who else do we have? Gohan's mom. I see you there. I see you 2717 as well. Holy shit, man. Jack Frost. God damn it. It is a full day today and a fun day today as well, as I see you over there as well, Mr. Charles Hobson and Dave Peterson. Welcome to the cave, sir. I do just see that you have joined. Nice one. And Jack, there he is. Burnt Creme. What's up, my friends? Anyways, let's get into it right now. We got plenty to go over today. There is plenty to discuss across all the major pairings. And I suppose with that said, we'll get into the Krown chain application right now, which we found at app.krown.net. And what do we see over here? We do see that the Fear Ingredient Index actually did take a little bit of a lower leg once again from a 44 to a 30, which is rather interesting. Now, we are running this 1 day late as far as the data goes, but this is very, very interesting nonetheless, as we have seen essentially a bit of a reset on the bottom side of the range. And we did say that a rally, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish at that $45,000 level, was, is just more likely first. And again, this is where I really want to push back, or at least kind of shine the light on, a lot of the people who are always looking for like the fucking moon rocket to the goddamn heavens, or the doom rocket to the, devilish hells down below. But what's the most likely thing to happen? Range. Why is my strategy the way that it is? Well, because more often than not, things are consolidating and just ranging. And there's a lot of opportunity to be had on something like Bitcoin, which, can have like a multi-$1,000 range, and it really doesn't mean all that much. So anyways, with that in mind, we do see Bitcoin dominance actually is still right around that 41% region. Probably worthwhile to check it out today as well. And do we see any in the top 10 winners list? Definitely not Solana in the last 24 hours. Apparently they went offline, whatever the fuck that means. And well, fair enough with that. Anyways, so Derpa Hashgraph, once again, a big winner. That one's been consistently there for like days on end now. So perhaps another perusal. That one is warranted. Let me turn off the alerts for right now. I do appreciate that, but we'll definitely get into that perhaps a little bit later. Hey, Salmon Crunches, man, you've asked the same question like 3 days in a row, and I will not have a good answer for you. Like, I have to shoot you straight, man. If you could ask like anything else, preferably with like charts, that would be something that I could maybe do a better job at. But when it comes to the 10-year yield, I'm not the person to ask about that, especially long term. That's just a different game, and I'm not educated in that fashion, and I don't want to pretend to be. Anyways, we do see Aave back on the winners list as well. IOS, SushiSwap, Compound, Uniswap, Chainlink, and Synenthex actually all kind of lead the market, looking good actually. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. We do see that global funding rate is still pretty much inconsequential, technically below parity right now, or at least what I consider parity. And again, we did identify this as actually going negative, I believe late last week after the big old dumpola. Another good, indication that we're probably going to be likely to bounce from this region first, because technically speaking, while Bitcoin did put in a lower low, we have not seen a confirmed reversal on what I consider timeframes that actually matter, like daily and above, for a general and long-term trend. Anyways, on top of that, open interest all starting to increase once again. So keep an eye on that global leverage ratio. It is creeping up here, yes, indeed. But with that in mind, it still has a little bit further to go before we get into like those critical territories that have definitely marked off some pretty nasty pullbacks, of which we do definitely check out that last September 7th date, because that was exactly around the same highs that we saw on middle of April, and of course late November of last year as well. So all of those did correlate with 30% or more drop-offs. Not the best price action right there. Sorry, actually 20% or more drop-offs, all the way up to about 50%, as we did see, of course, in April, May, and June. Anyways, with that in mind, the big news is right over here on the fourth tab actually. And again, you can get all this data whenever you want for free on our app. The link is in the description below, but most importantly right here, the hash rate continuing to work its way upwards and onwards. And this is actually a really interesting indication to myself right here, because this is playing into, if you're familiar with Nassim Taleb's concept of anti-fragility. So what happened over here? Obviously, China banned essentially Bitcoin mining, from what I understand. And while Bitcoin mining, was very much concentrated in China, and that did provide an initial shock, what did the volatility essentially feed into later? Well, it's recovering, and that would kind of fit the bill as at least an anti-fragile sort of aspect of this asset, which is a good thing. And as long as this does remain upside postured, that is generally good. We do, or I wouldn't say that but and I'm not like a big fundamental person, obviously. Not that I don't think it matters, just that's not my edge in this market. But it has been shown that hash rate typically does lead price action, and it's very, very interesting to see it continue onwards and upwards here. Another good indication that this last move to the downside probably going to end up being a bear trap, as I've been saying for the past week or so, and we do see that situation starting to evolve a little bit more. Still on the hopium side because it's not confirmed just yet, but it's certainly very much available, and every day that passes onwards and going forwards, we've been able to kind of continue and fulfill that prophecy. Anyways, whale ratio also made major downtrend right there as well. Actually, we did just put in another lower high as well, and that does essentially imply that we do have a little bit less selling pressure on current price action. So with that in mind, let's go actually check out price action. How about that? Maybe just look at the fucking numbers, huh? Number go up equals good, number go down equals bad, right? No, it doesn't matter, man. We're traders here, and what are we looking at right here? So we did see Bitcoin do a few very, 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 very important things in the last 24 hours, right? Should we start off with the lower term time frames? Should we go to the higher term time frames? Let's go to the higher term time frames right here. Make it nice and simple. Bitcoin on the daily, what did we do? We closed above actually all major moving averages, it looks like. Let me just double check. 47,123 spot 42 closing price last night, and where's that 47,105? So yes, indeed, the 10 simple actually a little bit above there. So technically not above the 10 simple, but fair enough. Good enough on this bounce for right now. And what is this going to be accompanied by? Actually, multiple drives of hidden bullish divergence come off the lows right now as well. Good. Hey, what's that? We also do see that daily Jewel has lost its downside posturing right at the auto fib support, which is good as well. And we do see, well, if we do see it actually turn cyan alongside a DMI signal, that's going to look really, 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 really good for at the very least a try towards about 49 to maybe even 50,000 bucks. And then that's where I do look at Bitcoin as perhaps passing like the last level, if you will, if you are looking at this from a potential bull trap scenario and putting in a lower high. Remember, Bitcoin is operating on lower highs, especially as long as we're below on a daily closing base about 49,000 bucks, and that is what the bears are looking at right now. And if you're looking at a 12 hour, I'd say about 49,500 or so. But we have an interesting setup right here, right? We do see, most importantly on CME, that BBWP, our volatility based indicator, is actually just starting to expand right here. In fact, the moving average on this hasn't even turned technically positive just yet, or upward slope is what I'm trying to say. But what kind of a setup are we going to potentially have? Well, first and foremost, we have hidden bullish evidence right here. I wouldn't say that's foremost, but what is the trend? The trend is trendless right now. We do have a lower low, but we do not have a lower high just yet. So that's kind of in limbo, and then we do see that volatility is starting to increase and downside momentum oscillators are starting to subside. Anyways, if we go over here to our Stoke charts as well, we do see that daily Stokes have actually crossed the upside for the first time since when? Since actually September 7th, you might guess, and that will be remaining with upside posturing as long as above 45,350 as well. So looking good right there, and even my experimental indicator actually providing a bit of an initial upside signal here as well. I don't necessarily know if trendlines are going to work on this, but I do identify that right there, and I just want to see if this does work out over time. But thus far, we do see that it's caught this low, and potentially this low as well. By the way, this low on the daily also coming in right around the daily 55 exponential average as well. And remember, not yesterday, or yesterday we essentially confirmed it, but it was the day before that actually, the price action actually happened. That was on the 13th of September. We said, hey, look, this is a short-term, at the very least, local low. Bitcoin's very likely to rally up from here, 47,000 bucks, very, very likely. And then let's see if we can kind of extend those targets over time. Of which, did Bitcoin close above the critical levels on CME? Actually no right here, and I do put the most focus on CME chart, but for what it's worth, if we do go down to a 4 hour right here, this does look more or less good, and we actually have we have not closed above range highs on the 4 hour. So if you do want a little bit of bear hopium right there, that's what I'd be looking for. However, I do not think that plays out because spot price action shows a slightly and more significantly different picture as well. And what do we have? We hinted at that death cross between the green 55 and the purple 200 on the 4 hour time frame, and this is something that these are one of the signals that I absolutely love to kind of generate biases of, because now as long as Bitcoin is above, especially the 55 and God forbid the 200 as well, which is basically at the same area, it's about 46,500. I am looking for any sort of consolidation right here to very likely complete that sort of trappy situation, and I very likely would be looking for a try somewhere around about 49,000 bucks, maybe even as much as 50,000 bucks based off of this right here. Yes, indeed, I did take essentially a retracement from the high to the lows of this right here, and the targets would be about the 0.5 to the 618, again about 49,000 bucks to 49,500 or so. Keep in mind though, again, as long as Bitcoin's closing daily totals below 49,000 bucks, there it is just another lower high, and if I do see any sort of a weakness right around that region, presumably with some bearish divergence on a medium term time frame of the 3 drives variety would be great. then I'll probably take position onto it. But for right now, this is looking decent enough. Anyways, short-term resistance right around the 382, which is also, funnily enough, in line with the 200 moving average right here. That's going to be your 47,500 tick, of which we did play a little bit of a pullback on it thus far. I'd probably be looking for a little bit more sideways within this region. And if we do go over to short-term time frame momentum oscillators like the 4-hour, you can see that it's rather high right now. But once it gets into this critical zone, I do look at it as a strong signal. And it's not really till it comes back down below it where I do look for that to really play out as like a potential reversal, or at least a more prolonged downside move against the current trend. And again, that is going to be remaining with upside caution as long as above 46,350 right now, almost $700 above to the price point. 12 hours also going to be rising up as long as above 44,750, and I imagine CME is probably all the same. Yeah, CME actually coming in from a much lower level, so this is much more impressive as well. 45,200 is a magical number right there. Daily is going to be showing 46,350. So technically the daily's not crossed up right here just yet. That'd probably be the next sort of thing that I'd be looking for if I do want to play this more conservatively. And 4-hour on CME is going to be $46,000. So similar, but actually still not necessarily in line with each other, which typically does happen actually by late Tuesday, and usually at the very latest by Wednesday. So it's kind of strange to see, but they are still within in the same ballpark. So fair enough. Anyways, what I'll do right now is I'll mark off the short-term resistance coming in right around the 382. Again, the 200 moving average right there as well. Again, it's really more like 47,500 or so. If Bitcoin starts to close 4 hour dollars above there, that's what I look for, that next sort of, trending extension all the way up somewhere around 49, probably 49,500 or so. And then that's where the real test is. I would look for the first try to be rejected. And where's the risk on this? Well, quite simply put, just right below, again, really the 55 in this case. I mean, if you start to lose that, that's going to look pretty damn nasty, but they're more or less in the same area anyways. And that's going to be about 46,500 or so, also in line with the 236 extension right here, or not, not the extension, but just the 236 retracement, of which Bitcoin is now healthily above, which is a decent sign, at least for an extension of rally after a bit of a short-term consolidation, you might even say. Anyways, is there anything else that I want to get into before we get into the lovely chats today? Okay, so we spoke about that. Let me bring up momentum oscillators over here on the 4-hour. Yeah, 4-hour RSI kind of telling this story. I probably would be looking for a first test around the bullish control zone, of which we are at right now, to probably be pushed back. And so essentially, what is that aligned with? A little bit of sideways between about 46.5 and 47.5 is what I'd be looking for today, and then maybe resolution probably late today or Thursday. Something like that would be about right. Rising volatility still, of which we do see it currently sitting at around just above 80 percentile. So it still can theoretically go a lot more. I mean, it can theoretically go like to fucking infinity because it's percentile indicators, so it can always rise. But at the end of the day, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily look for that to continue on with the rally as long as it's if it starts to get like above 95 percentile. That's where I start to get a lot more on edge about the current momentum, or sorry, not the current momentum, but the current volatility alongside momentum, of which we do see on the hourly turning down right now. So at best, I do think Bitcoin goes sideways here. Probably does test around 46.5 once again. And that is a pretty obvious area from all accounts, as long as hourly BBWP does trend down here as well. So a little bit of short-term sideways is what it does look like to me, and then probably medium-term daily, around the daily closure, probably do see another attempt. And if that does come to the downside, again, 46.5, or sorry, did I say that right? 46.5. Yes, 46.5 is the risk on this, at least as far as I look at it. Then I would be looking for another slam back down to $45,000. Do I think that that's what's happening right here? No, but that is, of course, always necessary. And it's funny that it's funny that these things get unfortunately really missed a lot of the time, when realistically they're probably the most important things to be aware of. It's like your fucking invalidation point. I mean, they're all equally of importance, right? But looks like everyone's picking on Solana today. Hey, leave Solana alone. Leave it alone. You're mean, being fucking mean. But yeah, man, it looks like they did fuck up. It looks like, I mean, what do? They turn off the fucking blockchain. It's like, that sounds like some granny would say, like, "Ow, the blockchain we need to turn this off. It's out of control right now. What do we do?" Like shit like that would be about right. Anyways, I think that we can probably get into the comments right now instead of my stupid jokes. Maybe actually before we do that, we go look at Bitcoin dominance. Oh, and I can show my I'll also probably make a bit of a decision on my testnet account today as well. If you remember from a couple days ago, I did cover my long position with a $44,000 strike short call, but I think it's time to reposition on that one as well. Anyways, looking at Bitcoin dominance right here, let's get rid of all this. We don't need any of that nonsense. And what are we looking for? I'd be looking for a bit of a bounce right here. Long term, though, is continuation to the downside. This is very obviously a downtrend. This is, you might even call this an inverted cup and handle right here. It actually fit the bill for such thing. And realistically, the only thing that I care about on this is just trend on this. So a little bit of a bounce, very, very likely. But after that, I would be looking for perhaps another extension on altcoins. This could take some time, though. I mean, we are on higher term timeframes here. Obviously, this is a weekly. Theoretically, I mean, this probably does happen in like October if I had to guess. So perhaps Bitcoin time until then. And of course, whichever way Bitcoin goes versus the dollars, where, most of the market's going to go as well. Anyways, what was I just going to do right there? Fuck, I forgot. Oh, I fucking done goofed. All right, well, whatever. We're going to go into the chats right now. I'm going to turn on the alerts and let me just bring up my... Okay, computer's looking good, looking fine. And it looks like, oh yes, that's right. I was going to show my testnet account. Okay, here we go. Looks like Bitcoin's flowing back into it. Nice. And what do I want to do with this? I should probably actually show my positions as well. It's pretty much the same thing as what I had before. Whoops, stupid rat face. There we go. And what do I want to do with this? Let's see, where are my deltas at? I'm still about 20 deltas long right now. I'm actually kind of fine with that. Perhaps I just leave this for right now. Let's see, what are these trading for? No, thank you. I will not be interested in that. What about these puts? Maybe if someone wants to buy, if anyone want to buy some puts for me, I would be happy to sell you. Expiring this Friday or next Friday, I would be very happy to sell you. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to do here, actually. Yeah, I think I'll actually run with that. I'm completely fine with 20 long delta now. That's that is plenty enough. All right, cool. All right, we'll go back on there and let me just pop up the chatties over here. Elsa's got them all lined up already. What's up, Aaron Depp? How you doing, man? Okay, so long time, good sir. Long time to you as well, man. It's definitely been a minute. Thoughts on Plan B saying 620 Bitcoin will be 47,000 in August, 43,000 September, 63 October. Bull or no bull? Where are you? So he's doing this from a completely different metric. I think I've let my long-term analysis thoughts be well known on this. And I don't really have anything. I don't know like the specifics and nuance of what he's saying. Like, is he saying that it's going to be $47,000 in August, meaning that like it closed at $47,000 in August? Well, that obviously, didn't really, or did it happen? Yeah, it actually did happen. Is it going to close at 43 in September? I'd be pretty damn surprised if it closed as at 43 in September. I think this one closes as a doji dildo. But I think if I recall, because I actually do kind of keep up with his posts from time to time. I think that he said like the lows he'd expect around that, and that's actually what I did say coming into September as well. And that's pretty much what we got so far. So would I agree with him? Perhaps yes, but when he starts to get into like projections in, he's saying like 63,000 in October. I don't think like that. That's not how I trade, or that's not even how I think that you can trade based off of a model like that. It's just like, where do you fucking manage risk, right? So it's like an interesting thing to look at. Do I think that it's a possibility? Absolutely, yes. And I'm generally looking, in that vicinity, assuming that this does confirm as a bear trap. Again, confirmation will be had with the daily above about $49,000, but I wouldn't just like blindly say, okay, it's definitely going to that region in October. Like, price action can do whatever the fuck that it wants, and the less assumptions that you make, the better, in my experience. So I don't really have anything to say about that. Anyways, any thoughts on Solastrophy? You just talking about Solana? Yeah, man, I'm not like a fundamental guy, obviously, but turning off the fucking blockchain sounds weird and strange. But it didn't really seem to affect, what was it, Thor chain or Rune chain or whatever the fuck chain that had an issue as well. So I don't think this market honestly really cares. The market's all about hype. The market's all about perspective, and fundamentals come like as a distant, not anywhere where most people are looking, for the most part, right? In general, like, think about it. Cardano has never really, from what I understand, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, has never really like worked. It's never really like had a thing to go off of. Solana has, and people don't really care about that. And Cardano, just look at the chart. It's a phenomenal chart, right? So how much does it matter? It's all about perception. It's all about the expectations. So yeah. Anyways, Hootie Hennessy wants to look at Link. Yeah, man, we can look at that one. Whoopsie, it's just ruined my fucking auto thingy. Let's see, where's my links over here? $30. Nice closure yesterday. Oh baby, that looks good. Yes, that does look actually rather nice. All right, cool. Are we targeting 34 to 35? Who's we, and what are you using to base that off of? That would be my question to you, man. I fucking hate that term we. And look, I'm not trying to pick on you, man. Like, obviously, I know what you mean in the colloquial sense. Just, it always feels weird when someone's like, hey, my biggest pet peeve, which you're actually not doing, but one of my biggest pet peeves is like when people come into the Discord or into like the chats or whatever the fuck, and they're like, all right, guys, are we long or short? It's like, shut the fuck up, fuck you, and don't talk ever again. Sorry. I don't actually mean that, but what I mean is, what do you mean by fucking we, and how do we all have the same strategy, and how and what? Like, do you go, it's like the equivalent of going up into like a nightclub and you're trying to meet a nice young lady, right? And you're just like, is it fuck or not? Is it fuck or not? It's like, they're probably just gonna be like, have you tried talking to me? It's like, what the fuck? I don't know you, so probably not. And maybe you just might want to. No, you should be more suave like myself and Elsa, where I just say, hey, would you like to go on a walk and maybe have some sexual intercourse later? That would be much better. Anyways, you're looking at link. All right, let's record this one right here. Here we have chain link symbol LINK versus the dollar. Elsa's laughing in the background. It looks like we're playing out the hidden bullish divergence, of which we got another drive yesterday, which we identified. And I would be looking for this to continue very likely. As this one actually never lost trend here. This one's maintained its uptrend and its higher lows even throughout the 7th of September right here. And we do see that volatility is looking like it does want to expand above 50 percentile, which I do like. And we do see that this whole correction came on declining volatility as well, which is actually rather telling. Daily Jewel has lost its downside momentum right here. And if we do get a cyan read on that, I would confirm this. Well, it's not a bear trap because there was never a trappy situation. We never put in a lower low, to be fair. But I would essentially be looking for this one to retest around the highs of this rally over the next, I don't know, week or so. And then very likely continue on from there. Anyways, going down the short-term timeframes right here, we do have a bit of a range in the short-term timeframes going on, obviously right here at about 29 bucks. Looks like we did get rejected at whatever I had marked off right here, probably done on the daily. Yes, indeed it was at 30 and 3/4. So I would be looking for a little bit of a range. Might test back down to 29 bucks, but as long as it's above 29 bucks, especially on a daily delta closure, I do look for this one to continue onwards and upwards. Probably over the next week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. Does look relatively good right here. 12 hours already starting to expand from a very, very low level as well, and 12-hour Jewel kind of leading the way. Anyways, 4-hour, what do we see right here? 4-hour RSI reaching back into the bullish control zone. I do typically look for it to kind of consolidate a little bit, so I don't necessarily know if this, or I'm not necessarily biased if this one's going to like move today or tomorrow. But again, 29 bucks is kind of my line in the sand for this one. That would be the invalidation for essentially just looking higher. Looking at the 5-day, which is going to be closing actually at the end of the week, it looks like. This is a really, really good setup right here, it looks like to me. Again, just for that rising wick format, and has had plenty of chance to break down, did not, even just held onto higher lows as well. So that is a sign of strength in this market, especially when most things did not actually. So Chainlink perhaps might be retaking its mantle back again long term. Be pretty damn cool to see. Anyways, looking at the daily over here, we do see daily Stokes will be remaining with upside caution as long as above actually 27 bucks. That same sort of pivot that we looked at for the downside. So good confluence right there. 4 hours going to show some critical levels up to about 27.5, and hourly probably flipping and flopping around, I imagine. Yep, actually coming down. So, a little bit of short-term sideways, I imagine. If it wants to retest back down to those levels, it's completely fine, as long as it just doesn't close below. Sorry, it's more like 29 on a daily. If you're looking at a 4 hour, then it'd be more like 27.5 to 28. Then I essentially just look for that consolidation to be resolved to the upside and continue on with the current trudge and maybe even climbing this wall of worry. So still looking okay right here, actually. And by the way, should I remind myself that we do have that hidden bullish divergence on the not last week, but the one before that, on that confirmed low right there. So I do like that, and I do look at that as playable as long as this condition is met. Again, be aware of the risk, but not a bad setup right there, and hopefully that was helpful, sir. Nice one. What's up, Josh? Okay, your psychological series continues to fundamentally change not only my approach to technical analysis, but also open paths in all aspects of my life. Well, that's like one of the beautiful things about trading, is that it'll teach you about yourself. Regardless of what sort of strategies you're using, you kind of have to learn about your own, demons in your mind. Like, I like to kind of relate it to, if you're familiar with computers, which I've learned more and more about, but like, you only have so much cognitive RAM. And when you fill it up with all of this, nonsense and whatnot, and you start, getting in your own way, that's typically where we, don't just have issues with trading, but have issues with life, right? And so the more and more of that you can shed, the more and more that you actually have available for, your cognitive processes that you actually do want to fucking do. So yeah, man, I've definitely had these same experiences as well. And it continues to evolve over time for myself as well, man. Like even, starting this like more than 10 years ago, I still come to like new realizations, sometimes aided by some particular, guides, we'll say. But hey, it really can be that if you let it be, that is like what having a life practice is all about. And it's very cool to see that you've kind of come to the same conclusions as well, because it really can spill on over into everything else. Like the way that you do one thing is the way that you do all things. And it's added a lot to my life, to just, shoot it straight. Anyways, what's up, Flynn? Please look at EGLD, short, medium term. Sure. Okay. I think we've been doing videos on this one the last few days. It's been one of the better actors, I believe, and still one of the better actors right here. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. New highs on the rally. New closing highs as well. Not bad right there. And we even have hidden bullish evidence on the 4 hour right here as well, around your prior time high. This does look like it is a reaccumulation. We do see those nice rising bottoms as well. Something like this, what I suspect is going on. And, if it does crack back down below about 265, I might look for a correction back down to 250 or so and probably bounce there on the 4 hour. But overall, I expect that this one probably goes for one more high before it does do the inevitable pullback. We do see on daily Jewel, it's starting to get really, really hot. Daily BBWP, same thing as well. But I want to see this get a little bit higher first, and then I'll probably call a local high. Where are we at within the grand scheme of things? We're right at the one spot 618. Extension. So if this one does want to take a leg up towards 300 plus, that's where I probably start to be a little bit more concerned about this one. Again, be aware of the invalidation below about 250 for the general long-term move, but for right now, still acting pretty damn well. So I do look at that as good, maybe after a little bit more sideways consolidation right here. And hopefully that was helpful, sir. Can you chart Reef for me? Sure. Okay. Reef, huh? All right. Must be a 2017 shitcoin, and it looks and acts like a shitcoin, sir. Holy fuck! What a pile of garbage, man. While the rest of the market's actually rallying off the lows, this one can barely join. That's not a good sign, man. It's not a good sign. You got a bit of a range going on right here on the short-term time frames. You got what is it, 2.5 cents to the upside versus about 2.25 to the downside. Daily looks like shit to me, but I would not front run this one, actually reverse, and if the rest of the market is not going to. But if Bitcoin shows any weakness, let's say Bitcoin does put in a lower high at $49,000, this one's going to get absolutely fucking wrecked. Confirmation on a full-on downtrend would be, it's kind of already there. This is your high, this is your lower low, and this would be your lower high if you do start to close back down below about 2.25 cents. If that happens, I would be looking for another retest of your September 7th wick lows. But until then, man, it's very unwise in my experience to be looking for downside in an altcoin. If you're not looking for downside on Bitcoin, it's just probably doesn't join as much to the upside. But I wouldn't get too excited about any sort of, even short-term continuation as long as this thing's below about 2.5 cents. Above there, I'd look for another retest of like this high right here, maybe even the highs of this rally. But again, definitely a laggard and not a signal of strength, not good overall. And again, if Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing is going to not act well, I suspect. Yes, it would probably retest your September 7th lows, but I don't think it stops there. I think it comes all the way down to like 1.5 cents if that would happen, to be honest with you. What's up, Lucas DeGrasse? H-bar, yeah, we can do this one. Actually, in fact, I'll record this one as well. This one has been very popular as of recent times, it looks like, and I guess for good reason. It's been on quite the run. Holy shit, man. There you go. All right. Here we have Herderpa hash graph, symbol H-bar versus the dollar. Let's see. Lucas DeGrasse is asking, looking to take profit around 60 to 75 cents. Let's see. We are pretty damn close to that right now. Looks like we hit our short-term and medium-term targets from yesterday's video, so that's not bad. Closing on the all-time highs is also not bad as well for the daily. I would be looking for a little bit of a pullback, actually between about 55 and 60 cents or so. I would not. I don't see your. Oh no, you said 60 to 75 cents. Yeah, I do think somewhere between about 60 and 69 cents is actually where I'd probably be looking for local highs on this one. This one's I don't think it's done just yet, but it's very, very close right here, and I express caution with it. Daily BBWP is getting up there into the 90 percentiles. I think once this thing gets to like 95, it's going to be a little bit risky for putting in a bit of a local top. I'm not calling like a MAC reverse or anything like that. I'm just saying that probably does put in a bit of a top, come down, and presumably put in a higher low first before anything else. Short-term timeframes are continuation right here. So again, I'm not calling a top right now. This is fine. Invalidation is below. Jesus Christ, man, that's far away. 46 cent on this one. I'll mark it off for posterity. Yeah, about 45.5 cents or so. Until that level's taken out, I just look at this one as very likely to go sideways and up, somewhere around about 55, maybe even 60 cents. If it stabs 69 cents, I think that'd be a fucking obvious area, but I wouldn't feel too comfortable saying that it gets there before that. It's a little bit more of an exaggerated target, but looking at lower term time frame momentum oscillators, short term hourly remains the upside as long as it's about 52 cents. So we're actually 1 cent above there right now. 4 hour is pretty much the same thing, 52.5 cents. Daily is showing what? It's showing 43.5 cents. So I do expect it's got one more drive up, and then I'd be looking for a bit of a pullback, and hopefully that was helpful right there for Hadropa Hashgraph. Not bad. Cool. There he is, Salmon Crunches. Oh, Scott Barney, proud to say I bought a koala agent. You did. You bought a koala. Nice, man. You saved a koala's life potentially. That's good, man. That's really good to hear. The Hidden You says, good day, sir. What's up, man? Trios USD. Sure. Okay. Trios. Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. This one's, look, it's probably going to join the rest of the market, yes, but definitely not a market leader. Let's actually put on this chart over here. There's a bit of an obvious formation going on right here, something that I don't typically call out, but it's a bit too obvious not to in this case. We do see a bit of a falling channel going on, which is typically a bullishly resolved formation, statistically speaking, that is. Short term, I'd probably be looking for this one to pop back up towards about 8.25 or so. Daily RSI, rejecting the bearish controls and back above the exponential. This looks like the correction is mostly over for this one. Same thing on daily Joule, lost its downside curvature, and this whole consolidation thus far has been coming on declining volatility. So I do think it is getting ready for a bit of an upside move right here. Short term to about 8.25, maybe even 8.35. Long term though, I would hesitate to get very excited about it until it's back above about $9. Then you actually will have a technical target based off of this formation. Again, not a formation that I typically call out, but this one's pretty damn obvious here, so I will call it in this case. That's going to be pointed up towards about just under $11, maybe even as much as $13 if things get a little more exaggerated. So not following the rest of the market as much, which is typically not the best sign, but I would be looking for a short-term extension on this one. This one is okay. Whereas invalidation, of course, below about 7.25. This whole one gets invalidated. I'd be looking for another retest of like 655, but until that happens, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to kind of judge the direction and then go off of that. Okay. Mr. T says, ask him if I can pay him not to look at Hex. Yeah. It is interesting though. I think there's going to be a lot less people asking about Hex as of the last few days, man. Or well, maybe not. I mean, I suspect that the Any News comments are coming soon for Hex users. Hey, and look, like, again, had a phenomenal run, but well, fair enough. Anyways, Sushi Yum Yum says, you said in profit you sell 25 to 50% of a position. No, it's actually 1/3 to half of it. Can you elaborate? That's what's there to elaborate? I don't know what there is to elaborate on. When I take a position, I always have it designed within my own trading plan that I will take at least 1/3 and as much as a half of the position off at the next like relevant resistance or the next relevant area that is very, very close to price action. So for example, like if I'm trading like a 4 hour on Ethereum, for example, I'll take off like 1/3 of my position, like $10 to $20 up, like no problem every fucking time. It's just kind of have to. It adds up so goddamn fast too. I just like to aggressively realize so that it feels better to have it in your account than not. How many times have paper profits turned into paper non-profits or maybe even losses? Sometimes not good. What's up, J3F? Yeah, let's look at AVAX. Avalanche over here. We'll record for this one as well. This one's rather popular right now. It's very hot, very hot. Here we have Avalanche, symbol AVAX, AVAX, not that Vax, not the flu one, but this one's still looking pretty damn good as it does consolidate around the highs. Now let's go over to a daily and do a general overview for this one. Yeah, okay. All right, we do have a very natural invalidation point below yesterday's low, 47 bucks. Any sort of a tick below there, and I would be looking for this correction to play out a little bit further south before anything else, probably down to like 41 or 42 bucks. But for right now, this one acts pretty damn well. Full hour, I imagine, is printing. Actually, no, it's not printing any divergences, but we are seeing a bit of a reset, and most importantly, we are seeing that this is coming on declining BBWP. So volatility coming down as this one does consolidate. Obviously, it's put in higher lows and more or less just continuing on the medium-term timeframes here. Let's go over to the 12-hour and see if this one has any obvious signals going on. No, not necessarily. Daily again, no, not necessarily as well. So fair enough. Where would I call a continuation phase then? I would be looking for this one to continue on to actually new all-time highs in this case. If you do start to close 4-hour dildos or even just trade back above 57 3/4, obviously if you just trade back above, it's going to be a little bit less formidable than a closure. But if you do close above there, I would be looking for this one to make a stab somewhere somewhere around about 80 bucks or so before the next sort of potential daily pullback or medium-term time frame pullback. Looking at AVAX momentum oscillators over here. Let's see what we got. Daily is going to be pointed up as long as about 55.5. So actually, it would suggest that this one does need to continue today. Otherwise, the correction will probably go on for a little bit longer and probably test down towards those towards those mid to low $40 numbers first. 12 hours is going to be doing what? Coming down right now, and will be coming down as long as we're below about 61 bucks. Full hour is doing what? Full hour is not populating. It's broken. Here we go. We'll be popping up with any sort of a closure above 52 bucks on this next closure right here in about 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 50 seconds. So if that can happen, I would be looking for another short-term retest of about 57. And then if you can start to clear above there, I would extend those targets essentially to the prior highs of this run. And then maybe over the next few days, assuming that we do close above that region, then probably somewhere around 80 bucks and then come back to a little bit later. But, one of the better charts that we have seen, higher term timeframes are obviously not bearish here. If this one wants to pull back, it's completely fine and probably just puts in higher lows long term, but that can come obviously at much lower prices. But if this thing came back down to like low 40s, that's where it starts to look a lot more interesting if it does choose to pull back. But for right now, I do see that volatility starting to increase yet again, and we do have what looks to be another higher low in the making. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for AVAX. Nice. Let's see. OPF and Taylor says, is that a possible head and shoulders index? Oh, speak of the fucking devil, huh? We can go look at it. I actually do think that it'll rally up here, to be fair, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. It's kind of like Bitcoin at that $45,000 or $44,000 level. It's very likely to bounce from here. They're the same thing right here as well, and probably likely to bounce a little bit more too. At the very least, like 42 cents would be rather likely. Is it a head and shoulders right now? You could call it that. I don't think it's going to work out like that, actually. I do not think that it's going to work out like a head and shoulders right here. It's kind of dragged on for a little bit too long. I guess if maybe you get like a quick wake up to 41 or 42 cent and then close back down below 40, then yeah, you could maybe make the argument for that. That's assuming a lot. And again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this thing very likely tests somewhere between about 42, maybe even as much as 44. Maybe as much as 45, but long term, as long as this thing's below about 45 cent, I do look at this as a reversal in progress, and I do look at this as a lower high very likely coming in on the daily right here, somewhere around the 3 spot extension actually. But for right now, very, very likely to bounce it up on the short term timeframes. Daily Jewel is probably going to swing back around at that point and potentially give like a major sell. 5 days I'm going to be watching as well, and this is looking. This is what a top looks like, typically speaking. Big volume on that spike, shooting star dildo. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing work its way down to like 20 to 25 cents over the next couple months here. Weekly is actually still not bad. If you want some hopium, the weekly is where I'd be looking towards as well as the monthly as well. But again, I hope that Hexkins can just remember the good times. When I was always calling upside on that one, we did essentially look at it up from all the way from like 2 cents to 50 cents, but I'm going to call the charts as I see them. So hopefully we can just separate our assets, our assets from our opinions, or maybe our assets just from who we are. We can talk about charts. Doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Doesn't mean that you did anything wrong or anything like that. It's just a fucking chart. That's all. It's just a chart. Then again, when half the fucking community has that in their name, gonna be hard to do, man. Gonna be hard to do. It's like follow the leader. Like anything that Richard Hart says, it seems like all Hexkins just like say after that. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. But I always like to say as well that a lot of the a lot of the Hexicans that I do know are very reasonable people and really good people as well. So want to give them shout outs as well. I understand these things are fucking nuanced, right? Anyways, Walmart. What? Mark has a rash on his plums? Oh. Well, I am a doctor as well, so I will be checking for lumps, Mr. Mark, after the stream. Get ready, Mr. Plum Sex. God damn it. Nimbo says, Walmart are now accepting Solanas. Really? I mean, holy shit, man. It's actually hilarious that people fell for the fucking Litecoin news to begin with. Like, Litecoin is, from what I understand, mostly I don't know if it's a dead project, but it might as well be dead. That was like, you could make an excuse for it maybe in 2017. I don't know about now, but fair enough. I'll let the fundamental people explain that one, because again, I'm not the person to do that. Maybe I'm completely wrong as well. Anyways, we have Mr. Orcon. What's up, man? Solana, short, medium term? Sure. Let's go check it out. Imagine this one got probably boo-caked in the last 24 hours, and yeah, it actually did. Still rallying off the 21, which is typically a good sign, but what are we looking for right here? But let's actually record this one as well. This one would be a good one to do. All right, here we have Solana, symbol SOL, which is, oh man, is in a little bit of limbo right here. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like we did hold up on our next test at 150 yet again. Nice little wick below there. So it's had plenty of chance to break down here. Looks like it doesn't want to take it. Looks like they might even back up and running again as well. Anyways, with that said, I probably would be looking for this one to pop back up somewhere to the median of the range, about 170 or so. Short term, 4-hour RSI tells the story. Rejection of the bearish control zone, and we do not have bullish divergence. But this whole correction again is coming in on declining volatility. So I'm inclined to say that this is a correction first and foremost, not necessarily a long-term reversal just yet. That is daily. Right, trading sideways at best between a range of about 150 all the way up to about 180. And short term, yes, I do think that it will test somewhere around about 170. And then if you do start to see it close above about 170, then I would be looking for that extension all the way up to maybe even as much as 185, or sorry, 185 to 190 or so. Above there is where I start to look for a continuation of long-term trend as well. But I don't think that's what's happening, at least like today or tomorrow. I think that this one's going to be consolidating for a while after having a pretty impressive run to the upside. We can go look at it over here as well. Daily momentum also is going to be down as long as below 193. So again, I don't think this one's going to be trending anytime soon. Just at best consolidating. 12 hours down as long as below 182. So fair enough. If we do start to hit those areas, then I would be looking for this one to, I suppose, give at least another test back around $200. And then perhaps that could bleed into the daily. Definitely possible. 4 hours going to be flipping back up as long as we close above 158.5. So looking good right there. And I imagine we should probably talk about risk as well to the downside. This one's actually pretty damn simple to talk about risk, or at least invalidation points. Anywhere below yesterday's low, the 14th of September, which is 142.77. That would look pretty damn bad for a continuation all the way down to about 130, maybe even 125. Or a closing lower low, which would be basically below about 150 or so. Until that happens, I think that this one very likely trades sideways and up from here and just plays out a sideways range for a while and probably does set it up long term. I mean, keep in mind the monthly still looks like this, which is okay, I suppose. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Solana. What's up, Burn Creme? Would you look at Apple on daily, please? It's been up only since June. Do you see it going down as low as 140? Sure. All right. Let's look at the chart first. The market that only goes up does look a little bit toppy there, to be fair, on the monthly. Same thing on the weekly as well. Yeah. Do I think that it'll come back down to 140? Okay, well, you just got to move down to about 147, which I do believe I said coming into this week, and I'd be looking for a move down to about 145 to 146. And I'd argue that that was the move right there. I would really only be looking for a move down to about 140 or so. If you see this one put in a lower high somewhere below 152, if you see something like that, then yes, I would be looking for a move down to 140 next, probably over the course of like a week or two. The weekly has a bit of a top, a bit of a short-term top in there, but again, that's not a reversal call. That's just just the top before probably another local, probably another higher low, which would be probably at 140 as well. That is the weekly 21 after all. So do I think that is possible? Yes, but first and foremost, I'd actually be looking for it to bounce back up here. I mean, if you're looking at the daily, like this is a typical, rally up area. It has been holding the 55 rather well. And I'd probably be looking for a rally up somewhere around somewhere just above a buck 50 first, and then if you do see any weakness around about 152, especially, that's where it starts to position for maybe a 140 move. But until then, I don't. It's just I wouldn't necessarily be looking towards that right now. So hopefully that was helpful. And of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, as you know. What's up, Tokyo channel? Yeah, man, it has been a while. Hope things are going over well in Japan. Anyways, could you look at yes, some forex? Yeah, fuck yeah, man. I love looking at forex. Actually, much more interesting than these nonsense cryptocurrencies. Down on the daily, but I expect that you are. Oh yeah, you're mid to long term. I'd be looking for this one to retest somewhere back down around about 109 and a quarter or so. But long term on a weekly, probably fine. Golden cross coming. In fact, I think that this one, you might even argue that it's kind of already seen its areas right here. Maybe another wick lower, but as long as this thing's closed above 109 and a half, this is long term still very good. We do have what going on right here. We do have, hey, where's my thingies? There we go. We do have this. Okay, that's like a very long term idea, probably on the monthly. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is. It is relevant, but not for what we're talking about right now. And then what do we have back on the weekly right in over here? We do have our nice rising bottoms coming in right here alongside a potential golden cross going on. Very easy one to kind of set up as long as you're above, especially, 108 and 3/4. I would be looking at this one as essentially a reaccumulation at a very high level after a weekly reversal, a confirmed weekly reversal. Actually, we do have higher highs and higher lows right here. Good. Just short term within the context of a weekly probably does trade sideways for a while, and probably looking at resolution maybe like end of year or something. I would only be bearish on this one, to put it bluntly, as if it does start to close weekly dildos below like 190 would look concerning. If you want to be conservative, then I'd say 108 and a half. Hopefully that was helpful, man. Oh, nice. You got some Japanese characters there too, man. That language is just like hieroglyphics to me. It looks so interesting. DYOR says, can you take a look at do your own research? There we go. Do your own. CRV USD. Yeah, so this is Curve's token, right? Yeah, and actually a really good setup right here as well. Maybe I record a video on this one. Yeah, here we do. Here we go. Here we have Curve, symbol CRV versus the dollar, being requested by Mr. DYOR. Going to look at a general overview for this one because this one has a really good setup right here. Golden cross on the daily, tested multiple times. This is what a perfect golden cross looks like, by the way. Within the format of a rising bottom reaccumulation formation, you might even call this. And it's any triangle right there, and we can make a measure move on this one, of which I suspect we have not hit the full on target just yet. Actually, we have. Oh, that's interesting. Anyways, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to like turn down from there. Volume still pouring on this move. This is exactly what you want to see as well. I expect maybe a short-term pullback in this region, maybe on like the hourly or 4-hour. You might have even already seen it. And then very likely extension all the way to the top side of the prior range at about 350 or so. Weekly looks really good here, actually. Weekly RSI telling the story. Great rejection of the bearish control zone right there. It probably does reach for the bullish control zone before it does push back a little bit, and that probably does come alongside maybe even new weekly closing highs here too. 5-day, phenomenal. Very good. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing not just hit 350, but maybe $4 over the next week or two. Let's go look at momentum oscillators over here in short-term time frames and judge if it's more likely to continue like now or later. 4 hours going to be up as long as above 294. Okay, interesting pivot right there. Hourly is going to be showing 292, and daily is going to be actually freshly up as long as above about 240. So yeah, I do think that this one does look pretty damn good for a general continuation here. Where did I invalidate this one? Very simple on this one. Below about 266, I would say that this whole idea is invalidated. And to be fair, 4-hour BBWP is redlining right here. So I do think that you're coming into a short-term consolidation and sideways move relatively soon. Just does this one have one more stab up? Probably yes. And then comes down. Where does it hit before that? I don't really have any strong opinions on that. It's just a lower term time frame right here, to be fair. Might even already kind of be right at that level, but overall, very good setup. Golden cross, increasing volatility, and hidden bullish evidence on the daily. Trend, volatility, momentum, obviously moving average, just an easier way to look at trend, but there you go. And hopefully that was helpful for Curve. Nice. Curve your enthusiasm. Mamba for Life says, why is Cardano bleeding? Is there any news? Sorry. Can't help myself, man. Why is it bleeding? Because there seems to be more sellers than buyers in it. That would be the real answer. But if you're looking for some news bullshit answer, well, I don't know. Whatever satisfies the general curiosity. I actually do think that this one will bounce from this region. It's kind of similar to Bitcoin bouncing off the 55 right here as well. Just a little bit weaker right now. All jokes aside, very likely does bounce off this level. probably back up towards about 250 or so. This one's kind of had its chance to break down. Again, same sort of thing as Bitcoin, like, you know, same sort of thing as some of the other weaker charts. You know, technically we do have a technical target all the way down to about 215 or so. So, you know, I am supposed to look for that to play out before anything else. But, you know, based off the daily and the higher term timeframes, I don't think that that's what's happening right here. I think that this one rallies back up to like about 250 and retests the bottom side boundary of what is a rising channel right there. So I would be looking for a little bit of a pushback. I would not be medium or long-term bullish on this thing as long as you're below about 255 or so. But yeah, man, to answer your question directly, well, more sellers and buyers typically causes bleeding action, sir. AK907 says, all right, guys, are we long or short? Shoot myself. Bastard. DJ Ralph says, would you like to go on a walk and play with some hidden bullish divergence? Lol, sir, that is a genius one, although I think it might go over the head of most non-trading persons and denizens of the world. But a very good one nonetheless. You can't say that I didn't warn you. Barton Hunt says, morning Krown, the last 600 million algo tokens are being released to early node operators over the next week starting today. I'm wondering how an event like this fares in your outlook on a coin, if it does at all. Well, okay, so they're basically releasing supply. Well, that's obviously going to add more supply, and if you're looking at this from a supply and demand dynamic, that'd probably increase pressure. But let's go see what the chart looks like, and I suspect that it should kind of be indicative of that. And what do we see right here? And when is that happening? Over the next week, starting today. Okay, so basically there's going to be more selling pressure on this one starting today. I would say I would not be looking for that right now. This actually looks still pretty damn good. So dare I put my nuts on the line on the chopping block here and say something? Yeah, let's record a video on this one. Here we have Algorand, symbol ALGO, versus the dollar. Apparently there is an event going on relatively soon, maybe even starting today, that 600 million algo tokens are going to be released to early node operators. So that technically be, or fundamentally be, looked at as kind of a bearish situation. Obviously more supply being released is usually not what the moon boys want to be hearing. But as far as charts go, I actually don't see that right now. Kind of the same analysis say as yesterday, basically. Let me actually use a nice ray for this one, just so that it's nice and orderly. But basically, I don't really have anything bearish to say about this thing, especially as long as you're closing 4-hour dildos above 185, 186 region. This one actually is about to confirm another drive of hidden bullish evidence right here as well in the 4-hour, and this is looking like another local low and a higher low at that. And would be looking for this to play back up somewhere around about 2.25 or so short term. As we do see kind of a bullish reset on 4-hour Joule, and more importantly, BBWP is trending down here throughout the correction. So daily is still obviously long-term good. If we go over to the 2-day, still fine as well. Just consolidate between the 414 and the 272. That's completely fine. I don't have any major issues with that. On a breakout of the top side resistance, which is at about 240, I would look for the technical target to be hit actually in line with the one spot 618 at about 288 or so, and then maybe continuation after that. But can an event like that kind of screw around with the technicals? Yes, absolutely. So do be aware of where the risk is, and we'll go over invalidation points soon enough. But daily Stokes will actually turn back up with any sort of a closure above 216. 4 hours showing what will actually flip back up with any sort of a closure above 209.5. So I would actually be looking for a short-term, medium-term up first before anything else. An invalidation point is actually what we spoke about earlier, 186. As long as you're above there, I wouldn't necessarily be looking for any like major massive downside. Now, if it does break that level, then I would be looking for a retest of about 155 or 160 or so, and then we'll come back to it after that. But for right now, I still think actually okay, at least for the short and medium term, and hopefully that was helpful, man. Ben SS, what's up, man? That's probably shouldn't have that in your name. It's pretty illegal in Germany, I believe, nowadays, but fair enough. Hey, Krown, can we take a look at XCAD versus USD? Sure. US dollar, okay, CAD network. All right, not a bad chart, at least on the 4-hour. Not a bad chart on the daily as well. Not too much history here, unfortunately, though, so I can't really speak towards much of that. Actually does look a little bit toppy on the daily, if anything, but I do think this one's kind of ranging at best. Basically a range, actually kind of hit the top side of the range yesterday for the 4-hour. Probably be looking for it to come back down to about 3.25 or 330 or so. Now below 3.25, I would look for an extension all the way down to about 230 to 225. But for right now, I do think that this one trades sideways for a while at best, and you have a resolution probably later this week or next week. Again, whatever Bitcoin does, this one probably follows as well. But daily is showing a little bit more downside signals than not, so for what it's worth. But still a very new thing, I guess. So don't know how much I trust like a daily chart on something like this. So yeah, all right, cool. What is Bitcoin doing right now? No, it's going down. Oh my God, it's wrecked. It's wrecked for forever. It's never gonna go back up. Let me just double check over here. Okay, all right. I think we are good to go. So that is lovely to be seen. Okay, beautiful. All right, reposition and nice. Okay, Mr. K, what's up? Simple K, yes, Simple K, there he is. Can you look into Ocean? All right, I can. I guess I don't know how helpful this is gonna be. No time frames given. Hourly is fun. Hourly looks good. Full hour, same. I'd probably be looking for this one to retest around 85 cents or so. Daily. Yeah, this one actually just got a fresh golden cross right here. You've seen it consolidate right around this region. Any sort of a daily high or high above 13th of September high, or just a closing high or high above about 85 cent or so. I'd be looking for this one to actually go for a nice little rally back towards a buck, and probably does continue on with a long-term rally from there. But a very easy invalidation point for this one as well. Anywhere below 75 cents, this one's going to get probably wrecked up. But I imagine Bitcoin probably telegraphs that move in advance if that is going to happen. But for right now, short-term up looks okay. What's up, Christy Milica? Sir, please do MKR low medium time frames. Okay. This is Maker Derper. Looks like shit. Looks like shit, man. The rest of the market's getting some pity bounces at the very best, or at the very worst. And this thing is not hanging on to the lows right now. Definitely a laggard, definitely weak, not a good sign. But you know, if Bitcoin's gonna rally up here, then I'll probably be looking for this one to do the same. Anyways, I will mark off some ranges right here for the medium-term timeframes on this one, or I guess short-term timeframes here. You know, short-term, I guess you can keep the hopium alive as long as it's above about 2,700. I do think it could rally up as much as about 3,000, maybe even 3,050 or so, but hard to get excited about it for a more decent move as long as it's above about 30.50. Above there, I would look for this one to kind of join the rest of the market and pop back up towards about 35.50. But again, you can look at this chart right here, and this is just not a strong chart in comparison to a lot of the other ones that we have been looking at today. Which is not a good sign, but you know, am I going to be looking for this one to break down while everything else kind of rallies up? Probably not. Probably not. At the very best, to trade sideways and up, and then keep your eyes on this level right here. And you know, if it takes out that area, then yeah, I'd probably look for another retest of like 33.50 or so. JT32, what's up, man? Hope all is well with you and Elsa. I did not get enough sleep last night, and Elsa is dealing with some, I don't know, some bad blueberries or some shit. You look at MicroStrategy, sure, yeah. Long-term timeframes on MBR. Okay. All right. What do we have here? You're looking at what timeframes first? You are looking at a daily, weekly, and bi-weekly. Daily, I'd be looking for a bounce here right off the 200 simple, nice and easy. Weekly, what are we looking at? Weekly does not look good on this one, to be honest with you. Maybe I change that around. You know, daily, I'm almost always going to be looking for a bounce off this region right here. That also does mean that if it does fail about 609, especially on a closing basis, I'd be looking for this one to fill the downside gap first, somewhere around about 565, and that would be the obvious area, because it's not just a daily level, it's also a weekly level as well. In fact, the weekly looks like it wants to do that a lot more. What does the monthly look like? Monthly is long-term fine, but again, kind of just consolidating right here. I don't really have a strong opinion on this one. On the very high term time frames. Maybe we go to a 5-day. 5-day looks downside first. I'm more inclined to say that this one does test the downside first. I'm around about 560 to 565. But that'd be a pretty obvious area within obvious risk management below about 560 as well. But short term, see what momentum also to say. Yeah, more on the weaker side. I probably do look for this one to fill the downside gap first and then bounce up rather than bounce here first. But other than that, I don't really have strong opinion on that one. Scott Barney says, just a $2 marketing strategy by Koala Agency. Well, that was very convincing, and I'm sure that everyone now is going to buy their lovely JPEG. What's up, Jack? What's up, Jack? Sol versus Bitcoin? Yep. We can do that. We can definitely do that. Sol versus Bitcoin over here. Let me see what time frames. Okay, medium and long term. Okay, so to me, for Solana, daily means long term. This chart's actually phenomenally similar to the US dollar chart. Medium term, I'll be looking for this one to pop back up somewhere around about 38,000 Satoshis or so. It's got some potential bullish evidence come off the low right now. That'd look pretty damn good for a retest of there. But, you know, if it could start to close 4-hour deals above about 38,000 Satoshis, I would extend the rally all the way up to about 40 or 41,000. But on the daily, I think this one's consolidating at best. I don't think it's going to be trending anytime soon. If anything, I'd probably be looking for, you know, potential major highs within this region before working its way down to like 22,500. Then again, the rest of the market's going to decide on, the other major caps going to decide on this one, and probably wouldn't be looking for anything worse than just sideways action if Bitcoin and Ethereum do continue on. But weekly still good. Monthly is still pretty damn good as well. Bi-weekly is also phenomenal. Now that I look at these higher term time frames, maybe I take that statement back. Maybe it trades sideways here for a little bit of time and then does another, another new all-time high before the next sort of major pullback. But right now, short and medium term looks good, and then kind of judge it from there. But invalidation on this one very obviously below about 30 to 500 satoshis. Hopefully that was helpful, man. Cool. Nice. No fucking way. Nathaniel Atwood says, I live in Minnesota and there was a plane carrying a hex banner flying around the Minnesota State Fair. I couldn't believe it. Man, that's so interesting to me. It's so interesting to me because you really don't see too much marketing going on for like most cryptos. Like it's interesting to see that hex like really goes hard on that. Very interesting to see. Also, a really interesting thing that I saw yesterday is like there's like 5 or 6 hex profiles that I ran into in a row when I was perusing Twitter. Like they're just kind of what's it called? Twitter like recommends shit to you, right? And there's like 5 or 6 profiles in a row that were all girls who had hex in their name, and they all had the same join date or about the same join date. It was either July or it was April or May, I believe it was, or it's like July or April, something like that. Just a weird thing that I noticed. Like what? I'm curious what that all is about. It's probably nothing. It's probably nothing though. Salmon Crunch says, lol, sorry, I thought my other comments were cheated in the chat. All good, man. Another random request. Long term on Ford. Okay, yeah, we can look at that one. Symbol F. Symbol F. F for F, sir. Long term. Okay, long term to me in traditional markets means like monthly, quarterly, maybe even yearly, especially for something like this that's been around for multiple decades, going back to 68, right? So this one hit. Let's look at where we're in the grand scheme of things. It does look like it is a reaccumulation formation, but this is a reaccumulation formation that's been going on thus far for about 11-12 years, going back to your 09 lows right here. We did make a macro higher low in 2020 off of coronavirus dumps. But for right now, this one's selling off the top side resistance yet again. So I expect that it probably grinds this area up a little bit more. And then you probably fill out the space a little bit more, over the next 5 to 10 years and probably resolve it close to 2028 to 2030. It's probably going to take some time. So I don't think it's going to be ready anytime soon. But hey, if you do start to close monthly dildos above about $18, at that point, yes, I would consider resolved. And you could have a major move implied right here, which would be all the way up to 30 plus, back around your 2000, your year 2000, that is highs. Look pretty damn good. But for right now, I'd be looking for it to probably trade a bit sideways here. Probably does give another try somewhere around like 15 or 16, but I don't think it's going to be ready anytime soon if you're like really looking at the long-term macro of this one. So hopefully that was helpful, sir. What's up, Dan Daya? Daily Ethereum Summit. Yeah, this would be a good time to do it. Let's go check it out right over here. Let me pull it up. Pull this chart right here. Lovely. And let me get on this one. And let me take a sip of water for this one first. And by the way, we can get rid of this side. Well, actually, the problem is you can just still do this, but technically not a slew of lower highs. Anyways, I'm going to take a sippy sip of this. Alrighty, and let me just make sure that everything's just over here as well. Okay, good. We are looking very, very nice, actually. All right, lovely. All right, here we have Ethereum, symbol ETH versus the dollar, and we're going to be doing a general overview on this one, as we should focus on the daily first and foremost. Ethereum did close above the daily 21 yesterday, which is typically a good sign. Now playing out a little bit of a short-term pullback as it does sell off of the prior range highs, which is to be expected right around about your 34, 35 region, which does mean that it will, or very likely, act as a pivot going onwards and forwards from here for the 4 hour in this case, maybe in the hourly as well. Yeah, I'd also look at that as an hour, on an hourly as well. Short-term timeframes, though, like I did say, are probably going to pull back from this region, of which they are right now. And let's see, are they likely to come down a little bit further? Yeah, I do think so. Probably down around about 33.40 to 33.50 or so. Not a whole hell of a lot of difference from where we're at right now. But, now that I do realize it, potential hidden bearish divergence could be confirmed on this one. And that would have a technical target down to, 33.40. And if you do start to fail 33.40, that's at the point where I'd start to look for this one to actually maybe even be a bit of a trap situation right here. It's not necessarily a trap because we didn't close on new highs. It actually still is following the current trend, but to be fair, let's go and check out the other time frames to see where we're at. 12 hour, what are we looking like right here? Again, same sort of territory, also lined up with 34, 35 or so. We do see this whole move over the last couple weeks here. Sorry, the last week here is coming on declining volatility on the 12 hour. Daily, same thing as well. And we have lost our downside curvature on the daily jewel for right now. This is not a long signal, but you typically will see bounces around this region, as that is the auto fib support right there. Now, with that in mind, do we still have that hidden bullish evidence over here? I wouldn't necessarily say that's still available. Let's go over here to the 2-day and see if there's anything obvious right now. Yeah, this one does look like a local low. I do still think that this one does have an upside resolution. The 2-day actually will confirm hidden bullish evidence, as we are making significantly lower lows right here. If and only if, actually closing tonight, if it does close above about 3,400 would do it for me. 34, 35 if you want to go by the book in this case, and beget targets, continuation targets, that is somewhere around about 37, maybe as much as 38 before the next sort of area of interest on this one. Anyways, momentum oscillators over here. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see, 4-hour is going to be up as long as above 33.13. Hourly, where we're at. Down as long as below 34.14. So again, short term is a bit of correction right there. 12 hours is going to be showing up as long as above 33, and daily is going to be actually freshly crossing up on today's daily total closure with any sort of a closure above 32.81. So that actually looked pretty damn good. For right now, I'd just be looking for short term, a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside as well. Again, an invalidation point below about 33.40 or so on a 4-hour closure. If that level does get taken out, I actually would be looking for this one to come actually significantly further down. It's going to start to look a lot more trappy if that were to happen, but where's your obvious continuation point? Obviously on a new closing high above the high side of this short-term range, which is actually correlated with the medium and higher term time frame range as well at 34. You could even, on the higher term time frames, 34, 35 if you want to go by the book on the short-term time frames. And again, I would be looking for a quick test to about 35.50 to 3600 after that, and then very likely extension all the way up to about 37. Let's see if that matches up with any sort of fibs right here as well. Let's do one of these. Okay. Yeah, we're just above the 236. So next sort of area of interest would be somewhere between about the 382 and this slew of highs right here. And then where do we see the 618? Right around about 3650 or so. So, still further away, but that would be my target, somewhere between there and maybe even as much as 3800 if this one does confirm on the daily. So it's very, very close here. Probably going to be easy to watch Bitcoin yet again, as it typically is. But for right now, Ethereum's got a nice setup right there. I do want to check where we're on the daily right here. No, maybe the 3 days what I was looking at. Also no, 5-day, not closing today or tomorrow. It looks okay on a 5-day, not any major issues for this one. So you know what, I always like to go over here for the long-term timeframes on Ethereum and remind myself of this fact. Here's your quarterly trading above the top side trolling bounce, closing at the end of this month, pretty damn good. Monthly, same thing. We'll have a chance to do that with any sort of a closure above 35.50. That would not just imply a retest prior highs, but very likely new all-time highs into October. And bi-monthly, not closing this month, but did close pretty damn good to start off September. So I do still look at this as more or less a correction first, and then we'll come back to a little bit later. But again, be aware of the invalidation point, because this one is this is not what you'd expect right here to get a quick, this one to come this far down on this rejection thus far. So I could very easily switch around on this one, but that is why we have invalidation points below about 33.40 or so. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Ethereum. Nice. Cool. All right, let me bring up my chatties once again, right in over here. Holy shit, man, there is too many messages. Oh goddamn. All right, let's see. I just lost my place. Where did we go? Okay, who was last? Okay, we got that one, we got that one, we got that one, we got that one, we got that one. Yes, there we go. Dan K says historical significance of the weekly 10 simple cross into the 21E. Let's see how well it's done. It's not something that I pay attention to on the weekly. It's something that I pay attention to on the daily, actually. But we can look at this one really quick. Let's negate everything else except for those two moving averages, and we'll do a long-term analysis on this one. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to the very nascent ones. Over here, was it a good timing of a move? No. Was it a good general guide of the long term? Yes. Obviously, you get the next cross right in over here, and that one leads you all the way up. Keeps you long all the way from basically about $4.50 to 1,300. Not bad. Tells you to beware of the bearish situation in 2014 over here. Okay. This one obviously a bit of a trap. This one over here, great signal. This one over here, not great signal. This one over here, pretty damn good signal. Not the best timer, but still pretty damn good signal. This one over here, great signal actually. This one over here, pretty damn good signal, I'd say. This one over here, terrible. This one over here, great. Kind of split, half and half is what I look at. It's something that I do pay attention to on the daily, and actually probably recorded like a shorts video on it at some point, just because it's such a simple strategy. It's not perfect, obviously. No strategy is perfect, at least to my knowledge, but does hold its weight, at least for right now. So hopefully that was, hopefully that was interesting. But I would say, kind of fits my biases here, but I don't think that this is something that I put like a whole lot of weight on. It's a daily that I care a lot about. And it's actually, it's a daily on CME that I care the most about. Now, to be fair, the weekly on CME is looking pretty damn good there. Daily on CME never even got across to the downside, to be fair. All right, cool. Ozamet says, can you check out Cogcoin? Okay. This is a new one. It's not, oh man, it's not on TradingView. Did you mean Doggycoin? I don't know if you did mean this, but KOGE is not on TradingView. Doggycoin is. Looks like shit still, but probably going to rally off this region back up towards about 25.5 cents or so. Not following the rest of the market. If Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing is going to have a fucking nosedive down to 17.5 cents. Definitely one of the weakest charts that we've seen today. Not great, but again, it's like, can you be super bearish on an altcoin if Bitcoin's going to, trade sideways here? Probably not. I do think it could maybe put in a rally towards like 25.5 cents or so. Chris says, morning, Sir Krown. What's up, man? XDC. Did we already look at this one, or am I thinking of something different? No, we did not look at this one. All right, so this is XFin Network. Remember we looked at this one like a week or two ago, and still a pretty damn good chart, actually. It holds the uptrend phenomenally well. Powerful. Very powerful. Very powerful BULAs on this one. Should we do a video on this one? Let me just double check how many videos I already have. I've been like overloading the YouTubes with too many probably, which is why people probably don't get notifications. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we'll hold off on this one. Now, what time frames are you looking at, sir? Looking at daily, weekly still obviously very, very good here. As long as this thing's above 10 cents, I'm long-term, I guess mega bullish, macro bullish, you might even say. Monthly is obviously good as well. I do think September is probably going to be sideways, but sideways within a range on this one is good. Anywhere between 16 cent and maybe even all the way down to 10 cent is completely fine. It looks like kind of already testing down there already. I have nothing bearish to say about this thing as long as above 10 cent. Now below 10 cent, I'd be looking for a correction down to about 7, maybe even a little bit lower than that. But for right now, man, sideways is good. Hidden bullish divergence could be confirmed today as well with any sort of a closure here or higher by end of day. If that happens, I'd be looking for next move up to 1550. And then probably carry on with the macro rally into the end of the month or maybe early October. But it does look pretty damn good. One of the better charts that we've seen today, actually. One of the best charts that we've seen today, in fact. Not a Whale says MKR. Yep, we got that one already, so I think I'm just getting to this one a little bit later. All good there. Emmy, what's up, Emmy? Hey, Krown, take a look at Mover USD. Okay, this is Moon. Just from the name, this one sounds very sketchy, you might say. Not a whole lot of history here. Take a look at it. So we need to go down to like very low term timeframes to get anything on this one. Ranging, it's not bad on the lower term timeframes, just ranging. Did kind of test the top side of the range, rejected from it. I'll probably be looking for it to test the bottom side of the range somewhere around about 366, but that's fine. As long as this thing is closing 4 hours above that region, you could even say like 360. I do look for a long-term upside resolution, but short-term, just sideways here. Daily's okay for what it's worth. Same thing on 12-hour. Not really getting too much from this, man. It's a little bit too new for me to do much with. Very short-term time frames like an hourly, just sideways here. Might pop back up to like 440 first before playing out a little bit of a downside move. Something like that, man. What's up, J3F? Matic? Okay, cool. Hey, and I appreciate that, man. Very much appreciate that. He wishes you well, Elsa. We got Matic over here, 133. Okay. See, and what are we looking at here? 4-hour daily. All right, let's go to the 4-hour. Did I mark this one a 4? What is this area coming from? This is maybe a weekly. That's coming from a weekly. All right, let's get rid of that because we're looking at a daily here. Actually, a pretty good response off the weekly 21 for what it's worth. Daily. Still do have a downside tentacle target here from what though? No, that was a failed. That was a nothing. That was on a breakdown of that region right there. That never happened, so that is not viable. Go down to a 4-hour as well. Okay, A little bit on the weaker side, definitely. It's not joining too much on the upside attempts, but you are in a bit of a ranging market right here. It is operating on lower highs, not great. We'll have hidden bearish divergence if it does essentially come back, confirmed if it comes back down below about 131 on a 4-hour closure, and then I'll be looking for another retest of 120 to 122. For right now, though, you know, it really depends on what Bitcoin does here, right? If Bitcoin does fail this level, then yes, this one will come lower, obviously. But I'm inclined to say that that probably doesn't happen. I'm a little bit more biased towards towards at least a test of like, what was it, 140 first, and then you can extend targets from there if it starts to clear that level, especially above 140. Sorry, it's like 142 actually. I would be looking for another move back up somewhere around about 155 to 160, and that would look pretty damn good for the long term. But for right now, a little bit of a laggard, ranging at best. At worst, breaks that 122 level and probably see back down to about $1. What's up? Hey, what's up, Legend Ali's? Nike Daily Weekly just dumping. Let's see it. Hashtag Sol. And whoops, don't need a USD for this one. Let's see what we got over here. Is it just dumping? I mean, let's see where we're at in the grand scheme of things now. What time frames are you looking at? Daily, weekly. Well, weekly is coming off just or it's very, very close to the 21 right there. I do think that it's due for a bounce relatively soon, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. You might even see it right here. How high can the bounce go? Anywhere around 165 is fair game on this one. You're also kind of coming off this level right here as well. Let's get rid of this. Not relevant towards what we're looking at in this time frame. This one is, however. But keep in mind, this one is bearish as long as you're below about 165. That also does imply the inverse of that statement. If it does pop back above 165, even just trades above 166, the ninth is for high, I'd be looking for this one to rally up actually all the way up here towards 178 plus and carry on with the macro rally. But for right now, bouncy first and then decide later. That would be where things kind of change around for me. So hopefully that was helpful in this one. But if it does lose 156.5, this one can come down pretty significantly. At the very least, retest your 25th of June lows, maybe as low as the 200s right here at 145. See what the monthly looks like. Little bit toppy here, and I imagine no, we do not have bearish divergence, so I'd hold off on any statements on that. I'll just leave it right there, and hopefully that was helpful, sir. There he is. Oh, Mr. Clean Bra. He's now clean bra. He's come clean. He no longer does the clean and trend, and he is now natty. He's all natty. He's all fucking natty. He's got the jaw of the gods. His Jeff process. Man, that is like the weirdest fucking Instagram profile to follow. It's like this is a 19-year-old dude stuck in a 40-year-old's body who's like really fighting, really fighting for it. Like, man, oh man. There's like a weird thing with like guys who like want attention. I don't know, it's strange, man. Strange. He's probably a nice guy though. At least that's what I've heard. FTM 4-hour daily. Yeah, let's check this one out. This is a Sam coin, I believe, or related to a Sam coin perhaps. And this one pretty good. Pretty good on the weekly at least. Decent on the daily as well. Should we record a video for this one? Probably not. Already getting a little bit top heavy on the videos, but this is fine for right now. You know what? Fuck it. Let's record this one. Here we have Phantom symbol FTM versus the dollar. We do see a nice little short-term time frame range going on right here. Let's mark this one off. I don't recall the last time we actually charted this one out, as that is probably not for this time frame, or very obviously not. 116.5 your bottom side area, and that would be an invalidation for what I'm about to talk about next. Actually, would be looking for this one to rally up all the way to like 150 to 154 or so. This one actually looks okay. 4-hour jewel giving us some positive curvature supported by DMI. We do see 4-hour volatility starting to pick up a bit. I want to see that really get above 50 percentile in order to extend those targets potentially more. But at least for short term, medium term does look good right here. And I would be looking for an extension somewhere just above 150 daily. Not giving us too much here. I do think this one's kind of similar to Solana, just going sideways at best. If it does start to fail below, your 21 right here at about $1.13 or $1.14, I would look for a deeper corrective phase down to 90 to 92 cents. But for right now, I do think it rallies up here. And then the question is, does it actually close a daily dodo above about 153, I think it was? Sorry, it's actually more of either a 4-hour above 164 or a daily above about 153. If one of those two things happens, I'd extend targets back up to your prior highs and probably continue on with the macro rally. We do have potential hidden bullish divergence because this one made such a lower low on our side compared to the last few lows over here. That it could happen, but it won't happen until you confirm this is a local low, and that won't happen until you close above basically about 150 or so. 5-day is okay, not great. Weekly still fine. Bi-weekly is great. Bi-weekly is actually really, really good right here, and monthly pretty damn good long term. Momentum oscillators are saying what? here. Let's go to the daily. Daily will flip back up with any sort of close above 165. Again, I don't think it's going to be trending anytime soon, but just short-term range. 4-hour popping up as long as above 115, looking good right there. 12-hour will be up if it does close above 147. So you can see how this one can spill over into those levels. But for right now, you know, bit of sideways, short-term sideways and up. Let's see what the response is right around 150 plus or so. And hopefully that was helpful for Phantom. Nice one. Okay, cool. Mamba for Life, what's up, man? Thoughts on DSLA protocol, short and long term? Never heard of this one. DSLA, DSLA. Okay, so this is a thing. It's a thing. It's real. Looks like shit. What do I think of it long term? Oh God!
Like you done goofed.
Done goofed, man. You heard it from the man himself. Bad long term. Short term, is it going to rally up here? Probably yes. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing rally up short term to somewhere around about 730 or so. But I think you're asking about, oh, you're doing long term as well. Above 730, I'd extend targets all the way up to like 800. But long term, sorry, that's like 0.8 of a cent, by the way. Long term, it's a very hard chart to love, man. It just goes down. It doesn't really follow the rest of the market on the upside moves, and very much a laggard. Unless you have like some insider information on this one, or you really like the project, then fair enough. That's a different game than what I do. But as far as technical goes, yeah, it's probably going to go up here. If you do start to take out actually 800, then I would be looking for this one to go on a nice rally towards maybe even above 1 cent. But this is just not a chart of something that's strong long term. So what that implies is that if Bitcoin gets going here, this one's not going to follow as much. There's going to be better options and opportunities. This is a fucking terrible chart. I mean, goddamn, man, like Jesus Christ, you could buy anything else in this goddamn market. It's not the worst chart that we've seen today, but it's among the worst charts that we've seen today. Again, whatever Bitcoin does is going to fall. It's just probably not going to follow as much, I'd imagine. What's up, Daniel Frank? Hey, can you check out the time fib extensions? I think tomorrow aligns with the resolution. Let's double check. Actually, don't even have it up right now. Pop it up over here. My time fib. So many of these things now. Here we go. All right. Let's plop this one over here. Yeah, actually, holy shit, man. Technically, I guess it's actually today. The 2618 extension. Let's see how the last few ones have been doing. Okay, so this one called the high, 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 called the low, called the nothing. This is a nothing. That's a Jesus toast. And this is, it's calling something. I don't know what it's calling yet, though. I don't have any opinion on it. We got some sort of a moon thing going on here, too. And I think that we got like the bull moon coming in like next week or something. That's the Bula Hopium, baby. Give me the fucking moons. Rally me up to the heavens and beyond, you goddamn dirty witches. Other than that, man, I don't know what to make of this. That's like the problem with it. It's gotten all these pivots in the past pretty damn well, except for the last one. This one did get a corrective phase, but I'm inclined to say that's Jesus toast more than anything else. And this one right now, like, if it is going to be some, then it probably was like, you kind of have to be a little bit a little bit lenient with them. In this case, like I'd say yesterday, you could argue that was it, and that would, in the context of this current price action, probably look like a low. But I don't really know what to make of that. Anyways, Bitcoin rallying back up here. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got in the low-term time frames. What are you doing? You pulling through? Oh, it's a rally off the 21. Have you been saved by the 21, by the bullshit 21? That TA bullshit. Every once in a while, it works just enough, just a fucking enough. Yeah, man. Other than that, I don't. I could. By the way, as you have a strategy in line, why not make a bot for that? I don't have a strategy for the moon phases. I mean, or at least like I just look at it as like kind of a tertiary thing to kind of help on my biases. It's like, all right, this thing works apparently for so fucking long, but still need to obviously combine it with something tangible, right? Because it's like, how do you manage risk off of a moon signal? I don't know. So that isn't going to be a plan on its own. It just can kind of play into another plan. What's up, Chasecraft? A Phantom. We already did that one. Have an awesome day, crypto. Very creative. Very creative term of endearment there, sir. Nice one, I guess. MM says ETN USD daily, weekly, monthly. Sure. And okay, so this is Electroneum. So this is definitely a 2017 shitcoin, but hourly is acting well. Daily is acting very well. Powerful, very powerful. I'll be looking for extension here. This is a very good move. Very big volume off the break. Golden cross right here. Consolidation after that. This is good. This is a good setup, and I expect that it does continue more towards just under 3 cents or so. Not bad. Not bad at all. I was actually expecting something much worse than this. But yeah, this is actually pretty fucking good. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing stab like right around about 2.7 or 2.8 cents before the next sort of daily pullback, perhaps. Short-term time frames, they're obviously going to ebb and flow, but even the 4 hours just continuation right here. This is good. Very good. Very nice. All right, let's see what else we got. John Dye, what's up, man? OCGN daily weekly. All right, OcuGen. All right, it's a real stock, so we got something different going on here. This is good. Daily weekly. Okay, we can do that. Daily. Oh, god damn it. God damn it, man. God fucking damn it. Sir, for the love of God.
Like she's done goof. Like she's done goof. Like she's done goof.
Oh god! Oh god!
Can't wait for Lex to finish on that one, but the worst chart that we've seen today, by far, holy shit, man, you couldn't have picked a worse chart. Wow. You don't have to trade this, you know. This is like the analysis that I see on shitcoins like this a lot of the time. Okay, guys, I've been studying the whale accumulation pattern. It's like, what does it even mean? It's fucking nothing. It's just accumulation to begin with. And you know what? I will be placing a trade today. And I will show you what I am targeting. We have come down all the way to 755. And that means that this one's due for a rally. 12,668% and not a single cent fucking down. Yeah, I'm gonna be rich off my OCGN tokens. This thing probably is gonna rally up here, but holy shit, man, like good stocks don't do shit like that. Good stocks do not do shit like that. Good stocks never do anything like good like that. Like never. It's probably going to rally up here, maybe like $10 or so. This thing could maybe even go all the way up to like 20 again, but I would feel quite comfortable in saying that this thing probably never sees above like triple digits again, or at least not like anytime soon. Unless if you have some insider information on this one, which definitely possible. I mean, definitely possible. I've seen weirder things happen, to be fair. But look, man, anytime that you see a stock do something like that, it's like. It's not good. It's not good. So, you probably know something that I don't about the underlying technology and maybe just like it. And fair enough. You know, it probably is going to move up from here. But, god damn, man, I don't think I've seen a worse chart in a while now. Hopefully that was helpful, man. What's up, Matt Rutledge? Sate Ama. Okay. Sate AMA. Okay, so it's a thing. All right. Okay. What the fucking bastard is this? I mean, it's how do you even? Right, that kind of makes. I don't think it trades all that much, and probably. I mean, like, look at this. Like, the volume is extremely light. 400 wrapped Ethereums on the day. Extremely light. So I don't think I trust a chart like this, but it is okay for what we do have right here. If you put a gun to my head, it's actually okay. But so it's fucking weird looking, man. I probably wouldn't touch it. You probably like the underlying technologies, but I guess as far as charts go, this is a very uninteresting chart just because like what do you make of something like this? You don't. Just it looks like only one person trades it, and they're probably gonna mark it up right now, but I don't have any opinions on something like this, man, and it's probably better that I don't say anything about it to begin with. Highly illiquid. I would avoid shit like this like the plague, just because if you need to get out, it's going to be very difficult to get out. What's up, Jack? Okay, Ethereum, Bitcoin, short, medium term. Yep, we can do that. Let's see. Okay, so we came back down to that that 7.1 million Satoshi region. That would be my. This one's actually rather tough right here. Long term, you already know my thoughts on it. I really, really like it long term. The question is, are we going to see a low here, or do we go for one more lower low towards 6.9.5 million Satoshis? I think I'd give this area a chance first. It does look like it's catching a lot of bids around this region. It's had plenty of chance to break down already, so I'd probably be looking for this one to trade a few more times in like the 7.1 million Satoshi region, and then probably does rally off that region over time. But sideways within this range right now, basically between this area right here at about 7.3.5 million Satoshis and kind of the bottom side, somewhere around the 200s in this case. And I do think it's going to test the downside again, probably multiple times actually at best, or sorry, at best right here. Start to break below here at about 7.1 million Satoshis. That's where I start to look for the next major area at about just above 6.9 or maybe even like 6.9.5 million Satoshis. Other than that, I always want to reiterate on this one. Long term, I really, really like it. It's just a question: do we see a low structure right here? Do we come down to the 55? The 55 is where I'd actually like to get something like this, but I don't think I'd feel comfortable having a bias towards either way right now. But if you're looking at the very short term timeframes, yeah, down, and I'd be looking for it to ground up this area. Very difficult to get excited about this thing as long as you're below about 7.3 and a half million Satoshis. So above there, you could probably target the prior highs of this rally at about 12th of September, maybe and all the way up to 9th September highs. But until then, I just look at this one as range and trending down, obviously. So not too much there. What's up, Andrew Mo? Please look at AMP. Okay, anti-sense. All right. I can guess. Yep, it is on. Oh, you're Australian. Nice. Goddamn, man. Okay, so when you go down to a lower term time frame like this and you see shit like this, it really doesn't trade all that much. And to me, that's a big warning sign that I don't want anything to do with it. But again, maybe just like the technology or something or whatever. That's a different game than what I'm doing over here. Just so we understand each other. But it's actually not bad on the weekly for what it's worth. It's really not bad on the weekly. I'd actually be long-term bullish on it as long as it's above about 16.5 cents, and you kind of just tested down in there and rejected that region. So that's a decent sign right here. Short-term, if this thing can trade back above even just 20 cents, that'd look really, really good for another retest of your highs in this region, and then probably does get macro continuation. But other than that, I don't really have strong opinions on something like this. My other opinion for like an invalidation would be below about, 16 cents or 16.5 cents. That's where I start to look for the next sort of deeper corrective phase down to about 13.5 or so. But for right now, a very bizarre looking chart, and I don't really have any other opinions on it for right now. It's anime. This is anime. Really? Oh, interesting. Hey, what's up, Cinebra? Yeah, man, we could do that just really quickly. I don't want to stay on for too much longer because my voice is starting to hurt a bit. I'm very hungry today. But let's see. Okay, so you're saying, can you ask if Krown would elaborate on when he chooses wicks over bodies on the fibs? Yeah, okay, so traditionally, I will actually chart off both if they're like massively different. The reason why I do that is because when you chart a wick Fibonacci retracement, you're gonna be able to identify the wicks, which for me, I like to scalp those regions a lot of the time. For the bodies, that matters more in my opinion to structure. So I will do both if you get like exaggerated differences in them. For example, Bitcoin doesn't have, okay, Bitcoin has an okay example right here actually. So let me actually pick up a fresh chart. I think this one's fresh. That's not fresh, but it's good enough. Okay, so for this one, I only took bodies, right? And you can see that it's operating pretty damn well on a closing basis, right? We're holding up above the 0.5 right now on a closing basis, but where are the wicks coming in around? Well, in this case, I'd want to do a wick. I'd want to do it from the wicks. And what do you know? The 618 wick to the upside. Actually, no, we closed right below there. So no, the wicks on this one, yes, we did catch the 382 at this bottom side wick. Okay, good. Other than that, it just depends what you want to do. So wicks is what I want to do. Like if it's exaggerated and I want to scalp, those regions. Bodies is what I like to do for structure and for trend. Now you can do it. You can really do it both ways, but the most important point is that it's going to be consistent. And as always, when it comes down to anything in this, in this vein, is like you want to backtest whatever the fuck you're trying to use it for to begin with. So understand first, like backwards engineer. What are you trying to do, and then go from there. So. You can do it a bunch of different ways, obviously. Holy shit, man. Okay, a bunch of them just popped in now. I don't know if we can do all of these. Bad Hair Club says, bad hair, that's me. Dragon Chain, yeah, we can do that. What is it, DRGN? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's still around, just barely. Yeah, this is the chart. This is the chart only a mother could love. Just terrible, just fucking god awful. This thing will probably never ever see its Peloton highs ever again. I shouldn't say that. Look, you can't say nevers in trading, but short term, you know, is it fine here? Look, as long as you're above 16 3/4, it's fine. Probably does trade back up towards 20, 25, maybe even as much as 30 cents or so. But long term, this is not what anything healthy or good ever looks like ever. And I do say that statement with force, really. So unless if you know that they have like some sort of, you know, information going on, like they have a partnership with fucking Disney, which is what I think they said at the beginning, which who knows what the hell happened with that. I wouldn't get too excited for anything here. Other than that, I don't really have a strong opinion on this one. Obviously, you know, can't really be looking for any macro continuation here as long as you blow about 34 cents, 35 cents. But I do think you're in for a bit of a rally. At least from this region. Invalidation on this would be below about 15.5 cents on a 4 hour. Okay, what's up, Global Files? Track USD. Okay, track. Okay, let's see. Bittrex only coin as well. 4 hours fine. Putting in a nice ascending triangle right here. Dare I look at the long term though, where things could get a little bit nastier. So who knows what's going to happen now? But something like this looks okay. Daily. Actually not bad. No, not bad. Is this the Origin Trail? I used to play that game when I was a kid. Brandon's your friend, check it out. Yeah, we've actually looked at that a couple times, or at least once already today. I would be looking at a breakout of above about 42 cents to get a continuation phase out of the structure right here. So somewhere back around or above about 50 cents with potential to go all the way up to 60 cents over time. It's okay. It's okay, actually, at least in the short term. Where'd I invalidate this one? Kind of difficult on this one because it is a little bit sloppy, but I'd say below 35.5 cents or so. So it's not like the best area right here. I do think it will have an upside resolution. This one's okay. Ren is your friend. Check it out. We can just briefly look at it. Just we've kind of already gone over it, I believe. Ren right here. Okay. Yep. Continuing to go. Yeah. Still good. I'd be looking for this one to pop up probably somewhere around about $1 over the next week. Hidden bullish evidence on daily. Rising volatility. Even the jewels with it as well. Trend, volatility, momentum. Looking good, sir. Looking good. All right. DLO. Okay, this is going to be the last one, though. A new tech listed in June. Gap due to good earnings. This is this D logo. Okay, consolidating at a high level like this after a major gap up is a very good sign, actually. But would I just blindly say it's going to go from like this exact moment? Well, short term is good. Short term, I'd be looking for another retest of like upper 60s, maybe even all the way up to 68 or so. But I don't think it's going to be doing like another trendy move for a little bit of time. Range is pretty obvious, right? You just kind of hit the bottom side of the range. So typically after that, going to go test at least the median of the range, which we already have, and then probably the top side of the range. So it's looking okay here. I'd only get bearish on this thing below about $60 on a 4 hour, and then look for a move back down to like 51.5 or 52. Long term though, sideways and probably up is the name of the game here, but I don't think it's moving like anytime soon. Okay, cool. I need to take a sippy sip of this water, and then we'll wrap up on Bitcoin and send you off on your very merry way. Ah, that was nice. That was real nice. All right, let's get this one set up. Let's get Bitcoin over here. Okay, lovely. Alrighty. All right, do we want to do it for this one? Do we want to do it for that one? They're more or less the same right now. Not a humongous difference. Alrighty. Here we have Bitcoin versus the dollar, symbol BTC, and we have a nice little setup going on. Bitcoin reclaiming the yellow 21 on the daily, which is typically a good sign. Daily jewel has lost its downside curvature and in a bouncy region. We do not have an upside signal just yet on this, and it is not supported by DMI to give it a little bit of counterweight right there. But we do have multiple drives of hidden bullish evidence come off the current low, and we do see that volatility is actually starting to rise above 50 percentile. In fact, on CME, it's actually rising from an incredibly low level. And keep in mind that this whole scenario, this whole correction thus far came on declining volatility. So that is actually a good sign for the boo laws off of this current local low. So again, until Bitcoin technically does clear back above about $49,000 on a daily delta closure, I do look at this as potentially a lower high in the making. And if we do have a lower high in the making, anywhere below $49,000, then that would be your confirmation of daily reversal, and I'd probably be getting ready for a much lower price action. But for right now, I do believe that the not the Bula, but the bear trap scenario is still very much alive and still very much well. Again, to be confirmed with any sort of a daily closure above 49,000 bucks. If that happens, I would be looking for just general continuation of prior highs of this current rally at about 53,000 bucks, and probably probably prior all-time highs over the next few weeks if that were to happen. But for right now, things are looking decent. Momentum oscillators over here, like daily Stokes, are going to be freshly crossing up with any sort of a closure of 45,350. CME is about the same as well, 46,350 actually. And if we do go down to the short-term timeframes, we can see that 4-hour is nice and healthily up on a spot price action at 46,250 is the magical number. And actually CME a little bit higher than that, 46,750 right there. 12-hour will also be freshly crossing up on CME and will be remaining to the upside as long as about 45,200. So let's come up with an invalidation point to the downside right here. And I would say it's actually very simply put right at the 200 exponential average, which is 46, basically 500 or so. So as long as Bitcoin's closing 4 hours above there, I do look at this as essentially a bait and switch of the 4-hour potential death cross. This was a great signal that we spoke about coming in over the past 2 to 3 days, of which we got exactly what I was looking for in this case. And so with that in mind, a little bit of short-term sideways within this region is completely fine. The next obvious short-term resistance, whoops, wrong chart. The next short-term resistance obviously is coming in right around about 47,500. If Bitcoin can start to close 4-hour deltas above there, it would not just clear the 200 exponential average, it would also clear the range highs and the 382 Fibonacci retracement right here. And at that point, I would be looking for a move somewhere between about the 0.5 and in the 618 at the very least, which is between about 48.5 to 49.5, something like right around there. And then of course, if the daily starts to close above 49,000 bucks, that's at the point where I start to really look at this as, okay, the bear trap scenario is confirmed. Again, I put a couple of videos out on this last week and over the weekend in the long-term analysis playlist, which you can check out at any moment in time. I'd be looking for this to kind of generally float onwards and upwards. And if we do show any sort of weakness within this region, that would be the next sort of major red flag in price action. But for right now, and for what it's worth, it also should be known that I believe today on, no, not on CME, although actually it will happen on CME as well, but both today on CME and spot price action do have potential hidden bullish evidence to be confirmed as soon as today's daily total closure at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If Bitcoin does close above on CME, that would be above about 47,000 bucks. Or sorry, on spot price action 47, and I imagine CME the same as well. And if that happens, yeah, I'd be looking for that move to 49,500 first, and then judge the next set of areas after they do get hit. But for right now, this is decent, and after a bit of a short-term sideways, I would be looking for the try to the upside. Again, invalidation very obviously below about 46,500. If that area does get taken out to the downside, specifically on a 4-hour delta closure, I would be looking for this rally to fall back down to low 45,000 bucks, and then we get to play the game of does Bitcoin want to bounce again or not. But for right now, looking okay here, and dare I say, it might even look good. I'd like to come back to it perhaps I guess later today, perhaps. Maybe tomorrow, and then we should have some more clarity on the situation. But for right now, pretty damn good. And again, be aware of the invalidation. But overall, the setup is there, and the higher term time frame is really going to be showing the way on this one. So hopefully that was helpful. And of course, should also end with this on the 5-day right here. Nice little setup. Again, as long as we're bouncing around the 21, that's completely fine. So there was one last thing perhaps that I did forget, but it's gonna skip my mind for right now. Anyways, with that said, as long as we're above the 55, especially on a daily, it is still technically to be considered a correction. But fair enough. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go on Bitcoin. Not bad. That's a very interesting sentiment, Mr. Chasecraft. Crypto Krown Clown would be such a great one. Well, fair enough. To each their own, I guess, on that. Also, thoughts on Halo, Diablo 3, Gears of War. Halo and Gears of War I've actually never been into. Diablo 3 is probably a game I would like, but I'm balls deep in Pathfinder right now. Well, as much as I can be, man, it's a fucking hard one to figure out, man. I'm kind of struggling with it, in fact. But I loved Divinity Original Sin 2. That was a great game. So, need to get back at Twitch soon enough here, but I'm trying to wait for the sunny times to subside so that I don't feel good about not using them. Anyways, with that said, man, it has been an absolute pleasure on this lovely Wednesday day. I'm gonna be signing off now. Please enjoy the outro tunes, and we'll be back on maybe later, but probably tomorrow, and go from there. With that said, take care. I salute you, and until next time.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it,